Well, welcome to the Iowa State University Beef Teaching Farm. Today we're going to talk with you all about how to put together a plan for when you turn out on pastures in the spring. Well, welcome back to the Iowa State University Beef Teaching Farm. We're standing out here in one of our traditionally hardest used pastures that we've got out in our rotational grazing system. And we're going to talk to you guys today about something that really needs to be thought about before you open the gate to start rotational grazing for the year. We are actually going to start rotational grazing here at the end of this week. For me, what's going to determine that is not the date on the calendar. It's going to actually be the grass and where we're sitting out in our rotational grazing system. So you need to think back to last year. You know, did we have some areas that got pushed really hard? Did we have some areas that had a very long extended rest period? And we need to check those and evaluate them so that we can put together our plan as to when we're going to turn out into those paddocks. This one here is going to be one of our ones that we'll hit towards the front end. If you look here, we've actually got some of our grasses, this is orchard, actually starting boot stage here. So it's pretty important that we look at that. So we're going to come through these, we're going to move very fast. Actually, what we're going to do in some of our larger paddocks is we're going to divide them in half. We're in a 13 paddock setup. What that'll do is it'll give us about 26 paddocks to graze through. So we've got a 26-day rest period. Normally in the spring, we would actually shorten that up so we wouldn't have as long of a rest period, because traditionally this should be our most moisture and our optimal growing conditions for our cool season species. Where we're sitting at right now, we're incredibly short on rainfall and we're low on subsoil moisture. So we don't want to abuse this, but we want to go through and prune it, if you would, back so that we can keep the grass immature and growing. I want to leave as much leaf area as I can though, so that if we start to get some rain, our pastures will rebound very quickly. So what we'll actually do is we'll go through, we'll cut those paddocks from 5-acre paddocks down into 2.5-acre paddocks, and we'll graze through them very fast. So it's going to take us about 26 days to get back to the beginning. So you need to look at your grass and start with your ones that are closest to being at boot stage or already at boot stage, and start grazing those first, and then those most immature ones last. And what that'll do is it'll kind of time it right so that we don't have grass getting ahead of us throughout the grazing season. That's one of our tips that we use here in the spring when we start our rotational grazing system, and then we will follow that up in 26 days, and then we'll reevaluate where we're at moisture-wise and grass growth. So take a walk through those pastures and evaluate them before you open the gates up here in the spring.